Hello, happy Saturday. Let me know if everything looks and sounds okay since I kind of altered the setup here to accommodate serging today. So I'm using my pattern table camera for my face cam and my iron camera for the serger. So I think that you'll be able to see everything pretty good here. So it's pretty close. I found my box light, but it may be a little too warm. Let me turn it off so I can already feel a little warm. So let me adjust a couple things here. I have to look to the left too to see the chat and my setup. So you'll see me do that a lot today. What am I looking for? This one here? No, I'm looking for this one. Let me configure this a little bit. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Nicole. Howdy. Okay, good. Thank you for telling me that, Nicole. Hi, Cheyenne. How's it going? I feel like that's a little better. Cool. So we're making the Hudson pants today by True Bias Patterns, and it's sponsored by Hart's Fabric. Oh, which I actually wanted to... Can I add something here? Let's see here. I'm going to see if this works. Oh yeah, it's kind of big though, huh? Maybe if we put it right here. How's that? Usually it's my iron graphic, my little my little iron with the little happy face on it. So, hi Barbara, how's it going? All right, so I'm going to pretty much use the serger 100% today. I set it up with 5 threads. So I actually have the seam to the left and the overcasting to the right. Let's see, you can kind of see it in this one. Let's see, which one can you see it pretty good in? Can you see it in this one? You can see right here, I have a seam right here and then the overcasting to the left there. I don't know what happened, but I didn't get thread for this project from Hart's. They may have sent me a spool and I like lost it. I don't usually, but they're so little, you know how they fly everywhere sometimes. Hey Malin, hey Allison. So I only have 4 spools of thread for my serger that match. So I'm using gray for one of them. And it's this one right here. So if you see it on this side, you see it's the olive green color. And I think it actually blends in pretty good, especially since this will most likely be on this surface here. Hi Elizabeth, how's it going? So yeah, so we're gonna do 5 thread. Doesn't have a whole lot of elasticity, but it is really nice and secure. And it looks really professional. I really like the way, this is kind of my favorite setup for a serger. I feel a lot more secure with it and it feels less fussy. I don't know why. It just does. I even adjusted the, right here, I adjusted the pressure of my presser foot because it felt like it was a little hard to get it going in there. You know, this is fleece. Plus we're going to have ribbing at some point too. So I don't ever really adjust that. I feel like it helped. So my machine is kind of funny in how the tensions adjust. It's A, B, C, or D. Except for the needles. The needle has its own tension, but the loopers have A, B, C, or D. And that's how I adjust it. Hey, Nicole. Oh, really? Was it a industrial? Industrial, I love industrial sergers. They're just far and away so much better. They're so quiet. They make this really pleasant little clicking sound. Like click, 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 click as I sew. Mine's doing that right now and it doesn't sound pleasant, but I'm sure it's fine. Okay, let's get to it. So in case you don't know, this is the True Bias Hudson pant. This picture is doesn't really do it justice. This is a really popular jogger. It is on the low rise side of things as far as I can tell. It's not that far off though. And at the end of the cutting video, I gave a tutorial on how to raise the rise of this if you're eager to do this and you're not really comfortable with the low rise. Sorry, I have another thing down there. I'm going to be standing and sewing today. So it's like a circus act, you know. And also someone mentioned, and I'm really sorry, I can't remember who it was. Was it you, Barbara, that mentioned this? I think I asked you last time, and now I can't remember if you said yes or no. That they're going to be doing an expansion to offer higher rises, or maybe they have a hack on their blog. So sorry, I don't know all the details about that. I am definitely one of those people that is not constantly looking on the internet for all the sewing stuff in the world. So I live, breathe, eat, sleep, all the sewing stuff, but I'm not always researching everything unless I'm really, really wanting to know. So here you go. So it has a contrast rib waistband. I'm not going to be doing the draw cord buttonholes, but I'll try and remember to give you some tips on how to do that. If you are doing something like that, I did this on the Caroline pajama bottoms, the first pair I sewed. So the first pair you see in my playlist, it's not Barbara, sorry. I know, I asked you last time. Sorry. Oh, nice, Penny. People were like, why would you watch that? It has ribbing trim on the pockets and ribbing cuffs. Sorry, I know it's a little overexposed. I'm going to be doing some dark cut fabrics here. Here, maybe this is a better view. There's a view A and a view B. I'm pretty sure I'm doing view A. The copy of the pattern is traced off that I'm using, and it's a size 8. So, all right, let's get to it. Let's see here. I didn't really arrange my pieces. I arranged everything else. I actually made a nice little sewing station over here. I have so much space to the right. It's really nice. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is, I thought I arranged all this. Didn't I arrange all this? Yeah, I did. Okay. Alright, so here's my front pant. I have a little less room to work with under. Sydney, you been busy? Okay, so I think one thing to note on this pant is that the rise and the pocket opening look very similar to one another. So the shorter one is the pocket opening, the longer one is the rise. So don't confuse that if you're making it. You'll be very disappointed when you try to put them on. So this is the rise, and this is the pocket opening. All right, so I also wanted to say that if you wanted to reduce some bulk in your pockets, I have so little room here. Didn't feel like I had very little room. If you wanted to reduce some bulk, since this is a fleece pant, I also am missing a pocket here. Here it is. No, it is. That's not it. What the heck? Totally ready for this. Oh boy. I lost the pocket. Okay, I may have to go look. What I was going to say is you could skip this piece right here, which is the top pocket. So you could sew your little trim just to this edge. Then your serging would be on the inside. You would see your serging right there. Maybe I'll lighten up the camera a little bit. And then you would put your under pocket. Let me show you on this one here. Oh, I'm just going to move this over. I really want to show you this. All right, so there we go. This is better. I'm ironing on my ironing board. I'm sewing on my ironing board, so this wool felt pad. Oh, thanks, Allison. This is the Rita shirt dress. I actually really love this dress. It's really comfortable. The only drawback is it doesn't have pockets, and I didn't catch that when I made it. So don't forget those. All right, so if you wanted to reduce the bulk of your pockets here, you would serge this ribbing trim here to this edge, right? And then you would top stitch this pocket to the pant. So you would see your pocket stitching line, but then you'd only have that one layer. So if you really want to reduce the bulk right here in this upper part of your pants, you could do that. And you could use a cover stitch machine. You could just do a single needle. I think, you could use a zigzag if you want. You could do any kind of decorative stitch right here. It's, if it's really going to stretch a lot, then you may run into some issues, but I really don't think you're going to run into any issues there. So that's one thing. So let me go look for my other pocket, because apparently I found it. I knew I had it. All right, let's do this. So let's get rid of the under pockets. I'm gonna fold this little ribbing band here. Oh, wow, really? Let me lighten it up a little bit for you guys. It's certainly not leather. Wait, iron. These cameras are named something completely different than what I'm using them for. Let's see. It's okay. It's a little better. Okay, let me move this back over. That good? It's like, it's a little tight. Let me do that. All right, so I'm gonna do all 3 layers at once. So one thing to remember when you are sewing, let's see, is this right side's together right here? When you're sewing knits and you need to stretch something, like you need to stretch this, the key with sewing knits in your serger and stretching something is you want to stretch it, then sew. Don't stretch as you sew, because then you're going to pull on the needle, and that is when you get into big time trouble. And that's why a lot of folks get a little nervous, because maybe they've broken a needle or bent a needle and heard a horrible noise. So that's the key. Think of it as, you know, if you were putting something non-stretched through the serger, it would just be going through as a nice flat non-stretched piece of fabric, right? So that's kind of how you want to treat your knits. Stretch it out, and then and then don't move it. Keep it static. So hold it and move it through the machine as that piece of fabric. You know, it's not being stretched as you go. It's already stretched, so it's static. I don't know really how else to describe that, except that you don't want to put this in here and then stretch it as it's going through the machine, right? You want to hold it and move it as if it's that same size. So, hey Louise, pocket detail time. Yeah, you know, I know what you're talking about, Nicole. I think that's a hip adjustment. I know what you mean. I have a pair of pants that do that too, where the pocket kind of gapes a little bit because it's kind of pulling awkwardly. You'd have to muslin it to check if that's going to happen. All right, here we go. This is pretty thick, so I'm going to lift up my presser foot and get it going here. And I'm probably not going to be trimming much off. There's only 3/8 of an inch seam allowance here, and this stitch that I have here almost adds up to that. So, oh, I didn't even see the ease the fit. Interesting. All right, so I'm gonna put my ribbing here, and I'm actually gonna clip it. I wouldn't normally, but I'm gonna clip it because you're watching me, okay? We'll clip the whole thing here. So you could do a little like tacking, you know, tack your ribbing. This doesn't really have to stretch that far. Look at that. It's no big deal. You got this, okay? It's not stretching much. Let me get it going here. Very thick. I'm going to pull my threads a little bit. Oh, come on. Oops. Get going. There we go. So once I kind of get it going, oh, I feel like I have something going on here. Oh, yeah, I do have something going on here. Wait a second. Sorry, guys. This was all going just fine before I started. What's going on here? Wow. I'm just moving my hand wheel forward as I go. Ooh, look at that. This is my face. Yeah, I'm standing and sewing again. What the heck is this? It's funny. Everything looks okay. Let's check it all out. Pull each thread. This one's really tight. This one keeps jumping out of this little looper, or loop there. This is the stuff you live for, isn't it, you guys? This is the stuff I dread. I feel like you are in the wrong spot. Okay. See, there's an extra thread here. One. I just pull each one and see which one, where it's coming from up at the top here. Two. One of these is a duplicate. There it is. Okay. There. All right. Off to a smashing start. Anyone get nervous now when they go to test it? Raise your hand. Me too. Wow, something sounds really weird. Do you guys hear it? Do you guys hear it? I don't know. It's been totally fine. I wonder if I change something when I'm gonna put it on A, whatever A means. I was actually really excited with how it was sewing. I don't want to sew this on my single needle. I actually want to sew this one on my serger. My presser foot, or my foot pedal, barely reaches the floor. Ooh, you guys, I don't know. This doesn't feel good. Do you hear that? Well, poo. Oh yeah, this needle right here has a barb in it right here. Well, what else can we sew today? Just gotta laugh, you guys. Just gotta laugh. Right? Yeah, exactly. I heard the heavy clunking too. Look at that. That is not good. You probably couldn't see that. It was a little bent. Yeah, that heavy clicking. My machine is not a big fan of a lot of thicknesses or heavy stuff. I just changed these needles yesterday. I don't use any of the nifty tools that come with my machine to change the needle. Do you guys use those things? They're really cool. Like this thing right here. This thing is so cool that you can put your needle in this little hole and then you just hold your needle. You like position it in there so you don't have to sit there and look for it. And then this one right here is this little threading tool. I actually don't know how to use it. Oh yeah, see, look at that. No idea how to use it. But I'm sure I can figure it out. But so far I can thread the needle of my serger still. Sure, I just jinxed myself by saying that. Hey Terry, how's it going? Fingers only. Yeah, I know. It's so funny. Like I'll even get this little like hang up here and I still just use my fingers to do it. It just feels more intuitive even though it's kind of clunky. All right. Fingers crossed. We're still sewing the Hudson pants. That looks beautiful. All right, that's the end of the stream. No, I'm just teasing. Oh Okay, let's take this out here. We'll try one more time. What's my backup plan? That's what I'm asking myself right now. So when I get into these kind of pickles like this, I mean, especially I'm live on YouTube, right? So I'm definitely wondering, like, what's my backup plan right now? So I think my backup plan would probably be to just serge these edges individually and then single needle them together, meaning straight stitch. Sorry, I always say that. It's just an old habit. So, hi, Ray. Well, I'm not even using my cover stitch. I don't even need to on these pants. Okay, so just getting this all out here. So my backup plan would be to serge, maybe like serge these three things together, get rid of the seam, since that was the needle just now that was affected. And then I would just stitch them together with my regular machine. But that isn't as nice and flat. You know, I really like the compression that the serger will give to this. But I don't want to chew up my seam here. So let's try it one more time. Everyone's fingers are crossed, right? Because I'm standing on one leg, I can't cross my legs, okay? That's just too much to ask. Next, I'll be balancing a ball on my nose, you know? That's so annoying that keeps popping out. Can you see my thread? You can't even see it. Never mind. I won't rant about that. Okay, so let's push this under here. I'm going to push it right up to the needle. Now I'm going to kind of line all this stuff up. What's your backup plan, Sarah? I want to know. I love hearing people's backup plans. I learn so much from everybody. I think I'd lose my streaming key if I drank on live on stream. My husband loves it when I want to drink. All right, here we go. Okay. That looks pretty darn beautiful. All right, here we go. We got it. Okay, so now there's my pocket detail. Phew. See, if I were a gamer, I would be allowed to rage. You guys would love that, though, wouldn't you? Just be careful. Sometimes these ribs have a right and a wrong side. You probably really can't see. You can barely probably see the ribbing detail. Oh, I am wearing the Rita shirt dress. Rita spelled R-E-E-T-A. By, oh my goodness, I have no clue. But I actually really love this dress. You did miss some excitement. How's your coffee? Hopefully you poured a shot in there for us. Sarah's already on it. Yeah, the only thing to remember with the Rita shirt dress is that it doesn't have hand pockets. So it's really long too. So I'm always looking for the pockets there. But it has the drawcord waist, which I didn't think I'd like, but I actually really like. All right, here we go again. All right, so I got it all situated. And now, see, I get it going, and then I arrange the rest. Can you see my whole thing here? Yeah, exactly, Allison. I was going to say named patterns. Thank you, Louise, but I didn't want to guess. Rage, exactly. I raged in a game last night. It wasn't that much of a rage, but I did curse a little. I literally couldn't even spawn in the game. I would die before I even hit the ground to play. That's how hard it was. Okay, here we go. Now we have our two pocket openings here ready. I love the back side of this. I have the sharpness, I just want you to know, I have the sharpness pretty high on this camera so you can see as much detail as possible. So it looks a lot more textured on this camera than it actually is. This does look like a fleece, like a classic fleece, but it's a hemp fleece. I love hemp stuff. I just really like the durability of it. And what I wanted to say also was what the item number of this is. It's right here. So this is a hemp fleece from Hart's fabric and in the sage color, but in real life, I wouldn't call this a sage color in person. I would call it more of an olive green. And I like the big difference between the back and the front. And it's the 95284. And then the rib is a black bamboo rib. It's very soft and squishy. It might be out of stock, she said, but they are getting more. By now, since she sent this to me, it might be in stock. So, all right. So let's see. Where's my other pocket? So now we're going to put the other side of the pocket here. So the corner is your side seam and waist and side seam here. So this is my left one, and this is my right one. So that goes with that. So I'm gonna line this up. Now, one thing I actually wanted to do and I completely forgot was I was gonna put the fleece side out on this one so that when she put her hand in her pocket, that fleece would have been on the back of her hand. And I can tell you from working in the outerwear industry, the fleece on the back of your hand is so nice and it makes a big difference. You don't need the fleece on the palm of your hand to feel cozy and warm and to instantly get a little warmth. You just need it on the back of your hand. So if you think of it, I meant to do that. It would have been a really nice touch. I am not taking out the seam right now, not after we went through to get it in there. But I would flip these. No one's going to see it. See, it's completely hidden on the inside. All right, so now I'm going to just serge this curved edge here. Serge, overlock, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to place it in there, get it going. Yeah, right, Ray? Yeah, Louise, how did your move go? Are you settling in? All right, so here you go. See how this all lines up here. So now you have your pocket. So line up on the side seam there. And right now, if you're using a straight stitch machine or a machine you can just do a little stitch, you might want to stitch these in place. Just a little tack in the seam allowance to kind of keep it all lined up. It'll be easier later on. Same with a waist up here. Line all this up. And make sure it's all flat. I don't have much space to show you, but just make sure that this is all flat and nothing is buckling when you do that. And then you can just treat this front pant as one piece. You know that? You know? So I'll just clip it. I'm using clips today because I am not going to sew with pins near my serger. If you really need to use pins, what I would do is pin parallel to the foot and really far away. Let me show you. I don't have any pins here. like this. Like pin way over here when you do it. But if you can just try to sew without pins, just a little bit, if you're kind of new to not sewing with pins, I highly recommend getting used to it and trying, especially with your serger. It's just safer, and it's just safer. So, all right, so let's pin this or clip this side here. I could just run this through my serger, but I don't want to because it's so wide, the stitch is so wide that when I go to sew the seam, I'd be worried that some of it would creep out into the right side of the garment. So we'll just do it like this. Look at me being all like diligent and clipping things. You know me, I don't normally do this. I would actually, though, throw this through my machine and stitch it down and keep it all lined up because I like that. I like having it feel like one piece that I can handle, you know, like meaning like handling it, it's just one pant now, you know, it's not flopping around and stuff. So, all right, so our other pocket. My foot pedal is dangling. I need to pull it forward. There we go. Aww. That's nice, Louise. I'm trying not to sew too fast because of the noise, so I'm really sorry that the serger is pretty noisy. All right, so got this one here. Now we have our left and right front pant. Pin this here. Keep it nice and flat. Treat it as one. And next we're going to do the inseam and the outseam of the pants. So we're going to create, and the rise, we're going to create the pants now. Okay. See, so it's nice and flat. This contrast trim I think is going to be pretty cute. All right, so now we're going to get our backs. And I'm going to sew my side seams together. So you can see how having those already sewn would be kind of helpful. So now I'm going to be going over a lot of thicknesses, so once I get to that pocket down there, I'm trimming a little because my selvage is showing here. We were trying to cut around some interesting things on the fabric, meaning some sun damage. All right, so I'm gonna go kind of slow here since we had a little issue earlier. No problem. All right, we're doing good. Make sure to periodically check that one of your threads doesn't break. It's kind of a bummer to get really far through sewing something and you realize that one looper broke and you're going to have to re-sew it. Some of them you can kind of fake with your regular machine, but some you can't. You know, Penny, I find that it's best to just lay the pocket out as if it's going to be when it's done, and then you can just flip it right sides together. You can assemble the pocket all together and then attach it to the pant, so then you have each pocket. Or you can just say, okay, I'm going to attach the front pant to the pocket first and then put the pocket bag on. That's pretty cool, right? I've definitely seen success with getting broody hens or ducks to foster chicks. I never had luck with it. Since I have this pant over here, now I'm gonna do the inseam. I'm just gonna do both since they're right in front of me now. Yeah, there's a local farmer that we buy things from, and her sheep are lambing right now. Her photos are just so pretty. I don't think she's a botanist. What is it? I can't remember what she studied, but she knows the plants of the area so well, and she can even tell like weather, like what the weather might be because of something that'll bloom suddenly. It's really interesting. And she lives in my area, but she lives more in like a plains type of landscape. And the photos, like if you're driving by it, it probably looks kind of bleak. But when you're standing in that, it's actually really beautiful. And her photos are it's just really pretty. I'm sure she's just doing it with her iPhone. She doesn't even have to try hard. It's just gorgeous, you know? There's some notches, so you just want to match your notches up if you see them. Well, thanks so much for you guys who volunteered to do some timestamps on the videos. I have 2 more of you that emailed since yesterday, and I need to reply with the ones that you want. And if anyone's interested and wants to help me out, I would really appreciate it. I'm just looking for folks to look at past videos to do timestamps on. And it's actually a lot easier than it sounds, because you can kind of fast forward, and I can give you 3 methods to do that. And then I give you the list of steps, and you just need to write the time next to it, and I'll do the rest. I'll like put it in the video and everything. And it would be a huge help. So if anyone's interested, if you're already like, oh, I'm already watching this video because I'm sewing this thing, that's what most people are like, well, I'm already making this garment, so can I do that? I'm like, yep, that sounds great. So it would be really helpful. It helps people find the stream, and it also, that helps all of us, because then we get more folks here and more support. So I know, I'm so tempted. Yeah, Barbara, I'm doing the inseam and the outseam. Cool, Sydney. Yeah, if you want to send me an email, sosolive@gmail.com, for anybody who would like to do that. And just let me know what garment you want to do. I don't care which ones you guys do, as long as someone's not already doing it. So far, someone's doing the original Archer that I sewed with the yellow flowers. I think Ray's doing the Alcott, but she's also willing to do the making backpack. Penny's doing the Fairfield button-up. Right, Penny? I don't know what Eliza's going to do. Hi, Eliza. There's Eliza. And then, yeah, so if you have a project in mind, it would be great. And like I said, like I'll just say, oh, here's the steps. And it's not very many steps. You just have to find them in the video. And then if you also want to say, oh, you kind of went on a tangent about sizing here, you can kind of timestamp that, and I can say, yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm doing the back to the front. Sorry, my camera is like so limited. So here is the, I don't know why I started on the inseam on this one. So here's the front pant right here, and here's the back pant. So now I'm doing the inseam of this one. I think it's good to assemble your pants a left leg and a right leg so that you make sure that you actually have a left leg and a right leg. And when you go to do the rise seam, the crotch seam, you get a nice continuous curve rather than doing the two fronts together and the two backs together. But that's totally fine. You can do that too, especially in denim and jeans. You do it that way. So. Actually trimmed a lot there. Didn't really mean to. All right, so here's my side seam on this one. So just match up your pocket top edge to the top of the pant, back pant. I'm trying not to trim anything, it's just habit. So now when I get here, I'm going to put the pant on the table so it's not pulling on it. And I'm going to make sure that this is pulled up, this little front pocket edge. Line up all these edges. Woo, Sydney, nice. This was the fastest I ever voted. Like filling out my form and everything, I actually felt pretty on top of it. So now I'm just continuing down the out seam. I'm always pressing here to make sure I have nothing creeping underneath. I always just make sure it feels like there's just the two layers I'm working on. I looked away a little bit, but okay, that looks okay. So you can see that's my gray thread. And all the other spools are this khaki color. It actually looks pretty fine. I made sure, I wanted it to be this little thread right here. This one right here, the gray. But apparently I couldn't figure that out. Because this is 2 threads and this is 3 threads right here. So I wanted it to be the least conspicuous. I used to know which one that was. I thought it was the cover stitch one, but it's not. It looks okay. And when you're threading your machine, like doing 2 different colors is a great way to figure out how it's pulling. It's a little loose right here, and this is my other thing right now. Do you see this looseness right here? Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And I'm not quite sure. It might be this. Maybe I shouldn't, okay. Okay, so now we have our 2 pants, and we're going to attach them to each other. You can't see it, sorry. Yeah, it's pretty subtle. So this one's gray, and this one's the khaki. You can see it here because the resolution on the camera is pretty sharp. There's a lot of texture on this fleece. It's so soft and fuzzy, though. All right, so now we have our left pant and our right pant. Hopefully you do too. It's always a bummer when you don't. I have had that happen. Especially with fabrics you can't tell the right from the wrong side. I mean, who here has not done that where you've had 2 right sleeves or 2 right pant legs? Nice, Eliza. We got our power back yesterday, and then we got another message that our power's being turned off tomorrow. So we're not going to grocery shop. Okay, I'm just putting the pants in the one leg inside the other, right sides together. So I used to always get confused about this. So if both of your pants are inside out, turn one of them right side out and stick that one inside the one that is inside out. That's the best way to do it. One should be right side out, one should be inside out. The one that is right side out goes inside the one that's inside out. And then you're going to line up this long seam here. I'm going to offset the inseam right here, this juncture, because it's pretty thick. But if you want to push it one direction, you can do that. And line it up at your top of your waist here. This is the waist here. This is the center front rise. We're going to go down, and that's the back rise. Right, Nicole? Yeah, Sydney, for fire prevention. Oh, nice, Barbara. That was smart. Oh, okay, Ray. I was thinking you were like, oh, I just can't tell. I didn't think you were commenting on it either way. I thought you were thinking like, oh, shoot, I wish I could see the difference, you know? All right, so I find when you start your project, it's kind of bulky. It wants to pull on the machine, so try not to let that happen. So now I'm approaching my inseam of my rise, and so one goes one way, one goes the other. Look at how crazy these threads are. Now I think, I wish I could say one way or the other which way I think it's easiest, if it's the top one pushing that way or pushing toward me, that's easiest. Honestly, I think it's nice if I don't have to look at and watch what this one's doing. So I always push it toward me and push this one away so I can actually guide it in there. And I'm going to lift my presser foot up to kind of keep it there. Just don't lift your presser foot up while you're sewing. Stop and then lift it up and adjust. Don't stretch out your rise. It's very stretchy. So just let it relax while you sew. Can you guys tell I've been recording a lot of videos? I'm so instructional right now. All right, so now we have pants. You can turn them right side out and check them out. Now's a good time to try them on. So here we go. Let's take a look at them real quick. So we have the front pockets here. Back rise. Looking cozy. They look so much better in person. I don't know if this camera's a little better. I will not be able to try these on though. These aren't my size. All right, so now we are to the elastic or ribbing cuffs and waistband. So the question is, do I change to black thread? I'm actually probably not going to. Mainly because this vertical seam, is it cuffs before waistband? I think it's the waistband, so I'll do the waistband next. It's the thing I'm dreading most, so I might as well do it. I like to get things over with. Right, Ray? I know. It's like when Penny said, oh, I always get those pockets confused. I completely know that one. I used to always get it that way too. So I had to make it so that it made more sense to me and not think too hard on it. There's something else I do every single time. And every single time I'm like, is this right? And I can't remember what it is. I'm trying to think what it is. Okay, so if you're going to do the buttonholes for the draw cord, now's the time. So you're going to use the pattern to mark where your buttonholes go. They're at the fold end, so the center of this waistband piece. Put a little piece of interfacing over it, do your buttonhole and cut it. And it might get a little stretched out and weird. I know that. Iron it a little bit, but just remember it's going to be scrunched up on your waist with the draw cord cinching shut over it. So just be nice to yourself, right? So then, I know, me too, Eliza. I feel the same way. I love the inside color so much. It looks very sagey on the camera. It's a little more olivey in person. I have it brightened up on the camera there. So then you're going to have your holes there, and then you'll add your draw cord later on once you've kind of got everything situated. And you've got your elastic in there. This is on the waistband. So really you just need to add 2 buttonholes right now. It's not a big deal. Just follow the pattern instructions for that, for the placement. And if your draw cord, I don't know, if you're doing anything different than what they say, just remember that you kind of want it centered between the fold and the seam here. I'm pretty sure that's where they put them, unless you want it biased somewhere. I would just follow the pattern though. Just make sure that your buttonhole, if they put the buttonholes close to the top edge, just make sure that you stay away from this fold. Okay? It's black. Oh, that's so smart, Louise. So Louise says put eyelets in there, and I think that's a great idea. That's a whole nother level of anxiety for some folks, me included, but I would be up for that. If you have enough ribbing, which I do, you can practice, you know. You get a bazillion of those little guys in a package. All right, so I'm going to sew my waistband together, right sides together along the short seam here. I think, well, that didn't sound good. No weird noises, please. I think the instructions pretty much tell you how to sew these together with a regular machine. So you could, if you did that on this piece, it's nice because, or this seam, you can open up the seam, which is kind of nice. This way I'm going to have to push the seam one way or the other. Why is this thread so like wily? It's like literally wily. I think it's the way it draws off the cone. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't. Yes, I said that right. And they say that in the instructions too. So you'll get a reminder to put a little square of fusible interfacing behind your buttonhole. Just put something back there, even if it's a piece of poplin, whatever. And then if you don't use a fusible, once your buttonhole's in place, if you don't use a fusible, trim away some of the excess so it doesn't pop through the hole. Your draw cord might drag it through the hole, you know. All right, so now we have this seam here. That's not too bad. You know, I think I'm going to try stitching through the waistband at the very end once the elastic is in there. So I'm going to be able to secure that, and then you won't see it pull apart where that spot is right there. I don't know if you can see it, but you can see it a little bit of my thread color just in this one little spot. They mark the sides of the pattern for the waistband. Hello, Eight. Oh, I'm not sure how to say your name. Eight and Afros. Don't know. I've never had a Janome for a serger. Sorry, I can't help you on that. You know, I don't shop for machines all the time, so I'm actually not the best source for that kind of information. All right. I'm going to trim my threads here. And I'm going to do this a little different than the instructions. So I did use my regular straight stitch machine to sew the elastic. I overlapped it 1/2 inch. And I sewed it in 2 rows there, securing both raw edges down. This elastic, can you hear it? Oh, there you go. You guys have lots of really great tips on doing these buttonholes on the knit. Do you guys do that a lot? That's great. This is stout stuff, man. I feel like I could stand on it. All right, so I'm gonna do this a little differently, and I'm gonna put this, I feel like I'm gonna regret this, I have to be honest. I'm gonna put this inside first. I'm also going to twist my seam right here because of the thickness. Yeah, you're welcome. You know, I do feel like a long time ago when I was looking at machines, I saw a website that did a really great comparison of them. That's what I would look for. And definitely when you go shopping, bring the fabrics you plan on sewing and sew with it. Don't use theirs. Yeah, exactly. And Ray has a good point, 8.5 roast, that if you like the place you're buying the machine from, that's key because you may be talking to them a lot. You might want to make sure you like them. Oh, are you taking off, Louise? All right, Louise, sleep well. I did check. Who said the melanated? I did. Did you see that they have a video for each fabric? Okay, wait. I actually want to do something to this first. I'm just realizing it now. I hope my machine will sew this. I'm a little nervous about it because there's not much difference. All right, so I'm going to mark the centers. Oops, sorry. I'm going to mark the centers of my waistband. And I'm going to do it like this. Yeah, like this. I feel like I marked this, but I do not see a mark. So I'm actually going to use some chalk. And let's see, how will this be? This will be on the, I'll be seeing the right side of it, right? Okay, so I'm just going to mark it. I have this really chubby crayon, so just forgive me. Use something better. Use chalk. I'm not going to clip it mainly because, oh shoot, I don't want to get that on my ironing pad. I don't want to clip it because the seam allowance is too small. Now, let's see. I think I'm going to not mark the others. So, yeah, I like that they have a page for men as well. I actually forgot to look at that. I started to click on it and I was like, wait, one thing at a time. I was getting all excited, you know? All right, so let's put this back in here. I'm going to twist this so that it's not too bulky. But I really like that each fabric, she has a video of her doing this and holding it. That makes a huge difference if you can't shop in person. That is going above and beyond. All right, so I'm trying not to stretch these two sides. The reason I'm doing it this way is this way I can sew this on my serger all in one step. Now, if you want to do it in the instructions, the way you're going to do it is you're going to serge this waistband, or you're going to sew the waistband pretty much all the way around, but you're going to leave an opening for the elastic. And then you're going to finish it later. You're going to thread your elastic through. Then you're going to sew it into the circle that I've already done. Then you're going to finish that hole. I've sewn things like that before, but I can't think what recent pattern I did that on. I know I did that though. All right, so I'm going to line these up. They have a lot of fabrics, but they don't have a lot of fabrics, you know? They have a really good selection, though. I really liked what they had. They had some really interesting stuff, and I really like that they're garment fabrics. If you sign up on their newsletter, you get a discount. Like 10% off, I think. But I'm not going to promote another fabric shop right now since Hart sponsored this. All right, so see, this is going to be tricky. We're up for it, right? I'm a little nervous. Why do I do this to myself? You know, the Alcott in the instructions is sewn the same way as this one is in the instructions, but I did the same thing I am doing here that I did in the Alcott. caught. I didn't do the instructions, I did this. What would make me feel better about this is if I pre-sewed it on my regular machine. So I just want you to think about this. Like when you buy something ready to wear, this is how it's sewn, but they don't have clover clips. They just do it. They would have been done already. They would have done, they'd be on their third one by now. They've got the tricks, man. Also, in a really big factory, they'd have a machine that just does this only, all by itself, probably. Me too, Ray. That comes in so handy. At first, when I saw that, I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. And then after a while, I'm like, yeah, please do send me some matching thread. You're right. I don't have that. Okay. So I have, where's my, I'm looking for my center. Did I clip right over it? Where is it? Is it over here? Where's that other center? Where's that crayon? Here's one. Is it under one of these clips? I feel like it's that pink clip. I remember the clip being pink. Yep, there it is. Oof. I'm a little nervous about this. So I'm pretty sure that this rib waistband doesn't need to stretch when it goes to the pant. If it does, it's probably barely anything, because this isn't what gives you the elasticity for your pant. It's the elastic inside. I could, Ray, right? I mean, you know, maybe I will. Maybe I'll just sew this little edge here so that I don't have the clips. I think you're right. You're right. We're ensuring success. That's one of my mottos, ensure success, right? All right, so let's go over here. It's all set up. Let me just turn my microphone and move my monitor so I can see you guys. You're a good encourager. What are you talking about? All right, so I'm just going to edge stitch this in place. I'm actually going to make my stitch length a little longer too, just so it travels better. Is the lighting okay? I know it's probably really dark because of this ribbing. So my hope with the serger is that I can get the presser foot to sit on the elastic when I go to put it on, and it won't be a problem. Because usually the thing that gives me a little nervousness about stuff like this is that because the elastic is in there, it's going to interfere with the presser foot. And that way, if I can get the presser foot to sit on the elastic in here, it won't be an issue. It just means I may need to trim a little bit off. I just have to remember, is that the presser foot's really wide, so it might do that. Shoot, I keep grabbing a little thread from that ribbing. These little things remind me of like what I would call Skittles. Because they kind of skitter around, you know. All right, back at the beginning. So now we have this waistband. Look at that. Floofy. All right, let me move this over again. She is a cheerleader. All right, so here we go. Wait, I need to turn the... Here we go. All right, so here we go. Can you see that? Pretty good. I just edge stitched right there. There's my little mark right there for the center front, and then this is going to be the center back. Get rid of this black thread. I don't care about these others, really. They're going to get taken care of with the serger. So let's see. Maybe I'll single needle these really quick. I'm just going to do it off camera real quick. So then I don't have to worry about those clips either. There's one. All right. So I just stitched these down as well. I kind of did it hurriedly. Probably could have lined them up a little better. So if you're not planning on trimming anything off, I say make this edge nice and flush to begin with. I probably will be, but it's not going to hurt. You can see I don't trim my serger threads really. I'm a chronic like thread trimmer, but I don't trim my serger threads down really low because I feel like they just keep going sometimes. You know? Yeah, this elastic, it's like a board. Especially compared to the bamboo. So we'll just trim a little bit of this. Mainly because my machine is a little bit finicky when it comes to these thicknesses right now. So let's just kind of make it kind of like this right here. You see how I don't have this seam very even? Let's just trim that up. These scissors are a little small to do that with. All right. I like this white elastic. I feel like it kind of helps with my like my waist and my belly. It's like it's pretty covering. Oh, it's kind of dark, but okay. So here we go. So let's see. Do I want to sew on the? I wonder if sewing on the pant side would be better than sewing on the, I think so, because if I sew with the pant side up, it's a little smoother thickness. If I sew with the ribbing side up, the step of this elastic might interfere with my presser foot. So let's try this. And then I'm going to mark this so I notice it's coming as my center. This is my center right here. We can even, you know, mark it. Let's see. I have my rise seam. We'll go this way. Right, that's the way we're gonna go this way. Oh no, that's I'm gonna push it so that it's pushing away from the serger. Yeah, you know, Penny, it's like probably like the knitted or the, like I use that in those poppy pull-on pants I made this week for those 2 videos. I like it, but I don't find it to be very, very elastic, or it doesn't stretch very far. So if you have to do something that needs to pull in a lot, it may be a problem. Oh, interesting. You can cut it to be narrower. You don't know what to work on. Yeah, that really soft elastic, like I feel like it's more decorative. Like you could use it on a skirt with an exposed elastic waistband. They sell it at my local fabric store. That's the only one they have. It's 1.5 inches wide. All right. I'm procrastinating. So I'm just going to walk this and see, am I doing any stretching with this ribbing? I don't think so. So I'm gonna have to slide it along. Yeah, so that's going to fit perfectly. Great. Let's do this. I am the master. Oh, that's right. Love to Sew did do an elastic episode. So if you have a free arm of your serger, congratulations, you're very lucky. But most sergers do not have a free arm. Oh, I want to do this on the inside. So let's make sure that your pant doesn't get hung up. Oof, I'm gonna do my am I gonna do my label? Now would be a good time. All right, let's do this. So just to reiterate, you're not stretching the ribbing or the waistband to match the pant. It should be pretty much the same size. I just push this a little bit more to get the elastic under there because it's pushing it away otherwise. So I'm trying not to catch the elastic, but I do want it under my presser foot. And I'm just going to smooth out this ribbing. Wait, why isn't the... Why isn't that over there? Sorry. Okay. So I put my label, I just laid it on there. Sorry. So I laid my label like this. I lined up my center back seam there. This is my elastic right here. You can see it. It's a big ridge. I got it. Don't you wish you could send a voice thing? You can in Twitch, by the way, if you have it on. That has really negative effects, though. I've seen the negative effects of that. Hi, Michelle. All right, so you don't have to stretch your waistband to match. It should be the same. So I'm just going to kind of, glide these along the gathers. And I kind of pushed my elastic a little closer just so that my presser foot is resting on it. If it's not, then it pushes it away and it's a big problem. So make sure your presser foot's down. I've got this thread. That's kind of messy. That's my thicknesses there. I decided to do it with the pant up. It does seem to be working. Ray, I told you if you do timestamps, you can't donate. The perfect moment. I thought you guys liked the drama at the beginning, but you like yelling at me more. I see. Thank you, Ray. Ray, you really do. Like, this adds up. This totally adds up. Come on. All right, so you can see this is like really, can you really see that? Let's brighten it up a little bit more. Let's brighten it up for this black ribbing here. Not the iron graphic. There we go. I want you guys to be able to see this. Wish I had just a button that does that. So you see all these? It's like pretty chunky. See that? I'm just sliding this along on the elastic as I go. I think that there were notches on this waistband and I did not notch them. So I would press your side seams towards the back. You may have to lift your presser foot to get onto them. I do. All right, so now make sure your pocket lined up here is straight down from the waist. Don't let it kind of push at an angle. It helps that I pre-sewed that. Easier to deal with than the clips, you know. Takes a rebel to know a rebel. It sure does, doesn't it? The rebel spirit lives big in us. All right, so this is kind of thick right here because this is my pocket trim. I'm being really cautious, but it's going really good. The thread stitch could look a little tighter, so I'm going to tighten it up a little bit. All right, so now we're here at the center. That matched up perfect. Let's see, so we pressed this seam allowance that way, so I need to press this one because this is the same rise seam at the center back and center front. So, you know, you can twist it, but try not to twist it. Yeah, the elastic is loose. I'm not sewing on it at all. It's just loose in there. And I'm just sliding all this along it. I'm honestly not being a rebel. This is how you would do it in the garment industry. It just wouldn't be so labor intensive because they have some really great tools for that, you know? So let's just slide this along. And this is the thing. I really like my sewing to be kind of a combination of it being the nice attributes of home sewing, but some of the other positive attributes of industrial sewing in factories. I would thank you kindly to stop unthreading yourself in that guide. I don't know, can you see this? Wait, look at this. Look. See that? It's like it's like a skein of yarn that I need to like drop and let it go. Hey, Kristinam. Sorry. Welcome, welcome. Yes, so yeah. Okay, I'm caught up on chat. All right, so I'm approaching my other pocket opening there where the rib detail goes to the waist seam. So I'm gonna be a little cautious because of the thickness. Now, you should check to make sure none of your threads broke during this. Because you know, when you're sewing these kinds of thicknesses, you might have one thread break. So make sure you check that. All right, so what's this? This is my side seam. So I'm going to press it towards my back. And I'm sliding this along the elastic. You're not having to stretch and sew. You're just trying to keep it lined up is all. We're almost done. My foot pedal just won't reach me. I'm standing on one leg. My foot pedal's drifting away. All right, so let's get this lined up. I'm eager to finish, but I better just slide this over so it's not pushing up against. I really want to get it nice and flush. So there we go. Okay, don't cut the threads that you've already sewn here. So I'm just gonna sew for like an inch over what I already started. But that blade might want to catch these little threads. It might happen and it's okay. I mean, you've already sewn it once and now you're sewing it again. It's just nice when you don't cut any because then you won't have those little serger threads kind of poking up that have nowhere to go. So. Now I want to sing that Dora song. We made it. All right, so here we go. That's what we're left with here. So I'm gonna just kind of straighten it out here. Here we go. I'm going to move the machine over so you guys get to yell at me again when I start sewing without moving it back. I'm really limited on space over here, but that's pretty cute. It looks so much cuter in person, color-wise. All right, non-serger person, are you just serging at the edge? Yes. Not cutting anything. No, it's not typical. The reason I'm not is because of the stitch setup that I picked. I have a, well, you can actually see it really good. I have a seam and I have the overcast edge. So that is just about the width of the seam allowance that was allowed on this pattern. So if the seam allowance had been 5/8 of an inch, I would absolutely be trimming 1/4 of an inch off. So that's why I'm not trimming anything. My machine is a little finicky these days on thicknesses too. It does a little better if I'm not going over something really thick and trimming at the same time. So this was serendipitous that I didn't have to trim this time. So Elizabeth, that's why. Is it wrong to see what happens with it? When you realize it's broken, stop sewing, go off, and then fix the thread of the machine in your machine that broke. If it's your seam, this one right here, if your overcast is doing okay and it's the seam right here that broke, you can choose to keep going and then just put in a seam on your regular machine right there, just kind of continue it. But if it's one of these little threads that broke, you're gonna have to stop, rethread it, retrace your steps. Hopefully you didn't go too far. So ignore it if the seam line is okay. Yeah. Okay, cool, Elizabeth. Yeah. Why is Elizabeth, Eliza, Ray, and Barbara all green right now? It's very confusing. You guys need your own colors. Usually, Allison, it's not that stretchy. Other machines are probably stretchier. All right, so let's see. This is how it'll look. And so I'm going to evenly distribute this ribbing all the way around. Oh, it is boardy. I tell you what, it is boardy. Ugh. All right, so I probably should have used black thread. It would look a lot nicer inside the garment, and I should have thought about that. What happened to the straight stitch Juki? What do you mean? What do you mean, Eliza? What do you mean what happened to the straight? My Juki's right there. We just used it. I know that's not what you're asking. You're pink. Wait a minute. Yeah, I don't know why. You usually are pink, Elizabeth. Here, let me refresh it. Oh, I don't have live chat on. I'm really sorry, you guys. I hope I haven't missed anybody's messages. Okay. Everyone's still green, except Ray now is yellow. Now Elizabeth's yellow. No, now you're green. All right, I'm gonna refresh. I'm probably gonna lose my chat, but yeah, you guys are all still green. I love green. I just can't tell you apart. I get used to what color you guys are. All right, so we need to put on the cuffs. All right. See, this is what makes things like this. I'm sewing pretty slow today, wouldn't you say? And this goes pretty quick. You got to embrace the pink, Elizabeth. It's just a color. All right, so I'm going to sew the cuff, the short edges first, so don't get confused. You need the ribbing is going like this, right? So I'm sorry this work surface is so small today. So the ribbing is going like this. The stretch is going this way, right? So this is your stretch. So you're going to put these two seams together and you're going to sew them. I already put my presser foot up. Oh, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but I know some of you have already seen it, but the I uploaded a new video yesterday on I'm moving the Serger. I'm scared of you guys. You guys got me all like, I can't find my foot pedal. It's like dangling here. I uploaded a new video yesterday on, what was it? Oh my gosh. Oh, this is perfect. Adding elastic to a waistband with a serger. I have 2 others uploaded right now. That's why I was like, which one did I put live? I recorded one yesterday on, come on, get going, on putting in a set-in sleeve with French seams, a dedicated one. That's what color you are on my screen, Elizabeth. Does that make you feel better? Go Bobcats! Wait, Bobcats were green? That sounds like a maroon. In high school, we were jackrabbits, and we were green and white, like Kelly green and white. Fashion school did not have a mascot. I wonder if FITM has a mascot. I don't even know. Wow. How weird. I may have to look that up later. We didn't have sports teams. That just makes me laugh because I can't even imagine us having sports teams at FITM in downtown LA in the garment district. Okay, so, oh, cool, Elizabeth, yeah. So I have French seam for inseam pockets, which you guys have seen me do a few times, and the French seams for putting in a set-in sleeve. Those are my next 2 videos. You can pick which one I do next. They're done. I just need to upload them. This is a little crooked, and that's because this ribbing, it kind of pushed it. So now, so I probably should have switched to black thread. Feeling kind of bad about that. So now you're going to fold the raw edges to one another like this. And now, if you want, if you didn't use your serger, open up this seam, or push it to one way, or twist it. I'm going to twist mine. I know that seems really contrary to usually what I do, but it's really just so that I get a nice flat seam right here. Rather than pushing them the same way, it's a very big bump. Competitive French seams or buttonholes. I didn't do, wait a minute, French seams or buttonholes, wait. Okay. So there's one little cuff for the leg. I have to admit, I never used to like sewing these. When I did a lot of these in my earlier days of sewing, and I actually didn't like sewing them. And maybe that was just like, maybe it was my serger at the time. I can't remember why. I don't know what the competitive French seams and buttonholes means. I'm missing the joke. Oh wait, the stitch you use to stabilize the ribbing elastic on the straight stitch machine, is that just for stabilization? Oh, Eliza, I did that because, I don't know if you saw, but I clipped, using the clover clips, I clipped the, competitive, go, thank you, Michelle. I'm like this. Woo. All right. It would not, I could come up with some competitions, I could tell you guys. So Eliza, I had so many clover clips in that waistband, it was making me a little nervous to just go straight to the serger. So all I did was pre-sew this little edge. I sewed it really close together with the elastic inside so that I didn't have to hold that and remove clips at the same time. That's all I did. I only did the waistband too. I didn't do it to the pant yet. All right. All right, so I think you should put this seam to the inseam. So we're also going to put the pants inside out. Fashion school sports. It would be something like how to drape a 1930s, whatever gown, or they would have you sketch something in a certain style with these elements, I feel like that's what it would be like. fashion school sports. Our school had merchandising, design, textile design, and something else. Oh, wait. What was the third thing, main thing? My roommate was a merchandising major, which means that she wanted to go into like managing stores. That's actually a really lucrative place to go. So, especially at the time. All right, so now I'm trying to decide, do I want to match my seam up to the seam of the pant? You guys, I would totally do that. I'm going to just respect the limitations of my serger and these thicknesses, and I'm going to offset the seam a little bit. The seam is almost invisible in this ribbing anyway. And then that way, these three seams here will just be one, like side by side, and the thicknesses won't give me such a problem. I know it looks kind of messy. I don't like trimming my serger threads because they just keep unraveling. So I just like to get them secure on the machine. All right, so now you can also see that the, can you even see that? You can see that the ribbing is a little smaller. See that? So this is one of those cases where you're going to stretch and then you're going to sew. So don't stretch while you sew. Stretch and then sew. All right, so I'm going to figure out which way this seam needs to go. And it needs to go that way. And I'm going to clip it like that. All right, let's do this. So I just did this to figure out where it goes, like this. So trying to see how it looks on the camera there. All right, so I line up my seam back here, and then I'm going to stretch this. Don't stretch the whole pant. You don't need to. Just to see where that lands on there, and then I clip it. If there's a notch, great. But the notch probably coincides also with this seam being lined up to that seam, and mine's not. Oh yeah, Project Runway was filmed there a few times. They had a few seasons. Well, they had a couple seasons there. I actually don't know. I didn't follow all the Project Runways. I love that show though. It was really fun. Should be physical though. First Tina rest 10 yards of silk. Oh my gosh. I hate to stereotype, but I will say that generally the population of the school wasn't in the athletic category, but a lot of them were definitely, you know, fit. So fitness sports is probably their thing. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to sew. So I'm stretching this, holding it, and then I'm just going to sew. I'm not stretching it right now. I'm just holding it in the stretched position. And when I need to adjust, I stop sewing, get adjusted again. This is all stretched, and I sew. That's my thickness. See that? It always does this. They gave me a tip at the store on how to combat this. I just didn't want to monkey around with it before the stream. All right, so you can see I have a little slack there. Can you see that? So I stretch and then I go. All right, now when you come to your starting point, don't trim the threads with the knife. Just sew for a little bit and then go off. And I'm going to secure those later. These are threads that got trimmed a little bit. All right, so we're gonna secure these tails later. So there's our cuff. So we're gonna do one more. And then the, my scissors are so sharp they just stabbed into the the floor and stuck. Yeah, I'd love to see that. I've never seen that. Sounds really awesome. It sounds just so, for lack of a better word, wholesome. You know, not so drama. Project Runway wasn't that dramatic, though, to be honest. I mean, it wasn't that bad. All right. There were definitely people on there, characters on there that you were just like, oi, you know. But they didn't make it. Oh, there's reruns. That's good. On YouTube. Cool. Okay. So I'm just doing my other one here. I'm going to get it going before I do my stretching. Okay, once I get the needle in there and it kind of sewing, then I kind of position it and go. Get all those unruly threads in there. Like this one here, get these unruly threads in the seam allowance to clean it all up. You know, I feel like the reason I didn't like sewing this kind of thing a long time ago was the fabrics just weren't that great. You know, like the elasticity of the ribs and stuff was pretty hard to accommodate, you know? I mean, you guys, I worked at Bum Equipment in the heyday. It was like an 80s iconic brand, and I worked there. So there was a lot of fleece, lycra, and jersey in my life. Oh, that's cool, Eliza. Okay, so let's turn this right side out and check them out. Oof, I'm really regretting the khaki thread. You know, the reason I stuck with it was I didn't want, when it pulled apart here, there'd be black thread showing. And now I'm realizing that it wouldn't have mattered because the black would have been against the ribbing. So match your ribbing. And I say that primarily because the seam presses down, hopefully, like this is kind of thick, so it's not. Typically this seam's going to press down though, and so you're seeing this side of it, you know? All right, so here we go. Hudson pants. All right, so we have the top there, and then we have our cuffs. These are huge. See in the picture. I feel like these don't look that great on camera, but they're really cute in person. Okay, so here's my last thing to do. If you've got your buttonhole in there in the waistband, you're going to want to stitch through your waistband like the instructions say. You're going to stretch and sew. I'm going to do that. Don't worry. And then you're going to thread your draw cord in there. Now, if the draw cord's kind of hard to get in and out, I sometimes like to put it in there first, and then I just move it around as I sew. Yeah, I do, Eliza. I think you could top stitch this down, but I would really make sure that you have a stretch stitch that you really feel comfortable with. This looks really nice, though. The sewing looks really nice. I'm not trying to compliment myself. It's just it comes together really well. See, look at that. Look at the difference. See right here? This is definitely as a result of the thickness. You know, so when I press the seam allowance down, it straightens out. So here's my thing. Okay, I have two things I want to do now. I want to secure all my little threads here that I'll just do on my single needle machine. I'll just pull them under and secure them. Hopefully get rid of these little loopy loops right here. The other thing I want to do is I want to stitch down through the waistband a couple of channels. Now, I kind of want to do this on my serger with the chain stitch. I'm a little nervous about it because this is so thick, but I do have some scrap fabric and scrap elastic here. So if you want, I'm going to try that out, which means that I would only be using this stitch right here. So straight stitch is exactly what you think. You can do both. Oh, really, Nicole? Yeah, I imagine it does. She says in the instructions to use a little bit of a zigzag, and that's kind of why I want to try the chain stitch. But I'm not sure my chain stitch is, honestly, if it's stretchy enough. So let's try that. So I left my sewing table at home, which is the thing that when I convert to not using the knife, sits right here. So I'm going to convert this to that, and we'll just give it a try. I can't believe I left my sewing table at home. All right, so what I think this is, I need this one. I'm gonna get rid of you and you. Oh, that's 3. Okay. And then it's just you and you. Okay, interesting. I have this amazing cheat sheet for all different kinds of stitches. You want to see? All right. I do too. I'm kind of curious. All right, so I just leave. That's what I thought. All right. Interesting. I've never used just the chain stitch on my machine. So I'm going to unthread it. So I know it's really tempting sometimes when you are going to not use part of your serger spools to leave it threaded and just leave the needle unthreaded. The thing about that is it doesn't always work out. You're probably going to have to unthread the machine and then rethread it later. I hate to say it. All right, I'm going to put that down. It was length and 3, got that. Width doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, that doesn't matter. Got that. Chain loop retention on chain. Upper looper down. Blade position lock. Let me do that again. That is a little, oh, here it is right here. Okay. All right, I'm gonna take out one needle. It's not that one. It's this one. The screws are one above the other, even though the needles are next to each other. Yeah, it does. It looks really sharp looking in person. The color, the black is so black, and this is actually a really nice olive. I've had this piece of little fabric in my serger tray for so long. For one needle. All right. So I don't have the table here. I'm nervous. Okay. I'm gonna hand walk a little bit first. Okay. So what this does is gives me the ability to sew in the middle of the garment without cutting anything. And I have a chain stitch. Oh, the web kicked you off. What? What did you make? Yeah. Jeans do have a lot of steps, but not. I won't defend it. You're right. They have a lot of steps. Okay, so where's my trial? Here's my trial. So you guys, this may not work because this elastic is super thick, really boardy. I'm not sure, but it's worth a try, right? I'd also have to change to black thread. All right. This was the little piece of elastic left over. They don't really give a lot of elastic in a package, do they? Okay, so now I'm going to stretch the elastic while I sew it, because that's really what I have to do. Oh man, this stuff's hard to stretch. trying to scrunch up the ribbing so I can really pull it. Okay. I think this might work. Doesn't look that great though. But it is stretching. Oh, Sydney, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, this is pretty cool. This machine comes with this huge trifold. And there's 6 different ones in each page. Sometimes only 5. It's really handy. It prevents me from finding the book ever. All right, so I'm going to change this to black thread. This shouldn't be too hard. Just pull it through. You know what I could do to prevent that thread from doing that weird thing it was doing? Like it's still hooked on there. I think I could put those little stretchy nets over it. That's what I need to do, I bet. I have a feeling this thread won't do that, though. Bad thread. All right. I have an air threader, and I was when I was doing the chain, this stitch here to do one of them, it wouldn't work. This is the classic thing when you have an air threader. You're like, oh no, it doesn't work, and it's because you don't have it on the right hole. I have 3 holes that have the air threader, but you have to like toggle it to the right one. And I was like, gosh darn it, you know. It was fine. All right, so let's sew a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna hold back here and stretch. I think that's gonna work. That stitch doesn't have any hiccups this time. I'm not very good at pulling this and keeping it in a straight line, but I'm having trouble having enough room to grip. Let me think about how I'm going to keep a nice parallel line. That does make me a little nervous. Let's see what tips they give for that, because I don't want it to be wiggly. Yes, I forget to do the locking, the join the tubes as well. And what about, Barbara, when you forget to unlock it and you go to sew and it makes that terrible noise? And you're not hurting anything, but it's like, it's all, you're like, and it's just because it can't sew yet. It needs to be unengaged. Okay, there's masking tape on your sewing machine. All right, well, I can't do that because I don't have my sewing table here. So I think I'm going to use a little chalk. Do I want to use chalk? Yeah. And you know what? Just a minute. Let me get my real chalk. Where is that? I don't want to use the Choco liner. That little box. Well. You know, my little like box with the actual chalk in there. I don't want to use a crayon. I don't want to use I can't use the marking pen. I have to make room here. I'll throw those away. Move you guys over here. All right. That's a good dream. And I do not think that's a lofty dream. I think it's totally possible. Oh, I really wish I was doing this on my Juki. But I'm so determined to try this on my Serger. I need a ruler. So we're going to do 2 rows. Oh, I hope I get this right. Yeah, right, Michelle? Exactly. And you know, the thing I like to stress with sewing, especially when someone is like, says either, well, it's easy for you, blah, blah, blah. Or they say, well, you didn't do that good. You know, like you get those two extremes. The thing I like to stress is when you're sewing something for yourself, you don't make 15 of them first. You're only making maybe one, maybe the muslin or a toile or whatever you want to call it, like a prototype to check it. So it's not like you get to practice. Whereas like in cooking, you practice. It's not a big deal if you fail. I mean, it's a disappointment, but you can throw it away or give it to the dog or the compost bin or the chickens, right? And then you move on. Whereas in sewing, you're like, oh, sigh. I just spent $60 on that fabric, 8 hours of my time. And I learned a lot. The next one will be better, but I'm not really ready to do the next one. Then when you are, you have to remember all the things that you wanted to change, So you got to be really nice to yourself. And remember, you don't get to practice and practice and practice the exact same garment. Like like we've done so many things where I'm like, wow, that actually went okay. And I'm kind of surprised, because I made so many changes to it when we were cutting it out. Like the one we just did, the Madison cardigan. That turned out amazing, right? But you guys, like, I was pretty nervous on that one because I was changing a knit garment to woven, All right, so this is about 2.5 inches wide. So I think I'm just going to do like, I don't know. Yeah, I want to do it in thirds. So maybe like about 7/8 of an inch and 7/8 of an inch. All right. Let's see. It's about right. What's 2.5 divided by 3? Where's my calculator? Oh, here. I got lost in thought when I was figuring that out, and I forgot I needed to like do it. Yeah, 0.83. Yeah, right, Michelle? Oh, nice. Wow, she sent that fast, Ray. Dang. Okay. So we're going to do 0.83, which is between the 7/8 mark and the 3/4 mark. 7/8, right there. So, ooh, I kind of want one on the edge too, but I'm gonna stop dreaming here. So I'm just gonna give myself some occasional guides. And we're going to hope for some parallel lines. I don't feel like it's a lot to ask, but it feels like might be a lot to accomplish. My elastic is, you know, it's slack in there, so there is probably a 1/2 inch. You got to kind of figure out where that elastic's going to sit too. It's not completely snug in there. And it would be if this was ready to wear. You know? I'm pretty good at writing myself notes, or at least doing something like, I don't know if you guys saw when I was doing that little tutorial on how to raise the rise when we cut these out the other day. You could see like I pulled out my pants #1 pattern and I had cut off of the rise when I made those the first time. Well, I didn't feel like changing the pattern or making a permanent change or even writing myself a note. So I just pinned what I cut off to the pattern. So I would go, oh yeah, I did that, you know? And in cooking, I always try and write notes just directly in the cookbook. I write what I did different and if we liked it. I don't like how slack the elastic is in here. You know, I feel like I've got to decide. Oh, I'm already losing some of my lines here. Which is a good sign that it'll disappear, right? All right, this is an experiment. Sorry, Lexi's friend. Hope you like your Hudson pants. Oh, right, Michelle, I do that too. I have a pile of notes on next to my computer and next to the pattern table from streams. If this were ready to wear, there would be no slack between the elastic and this seam right here. It would be snug like that. Okay. So I think what I'm gonna do, I don't have a knife this time on my machine. I feel like I really need some muscles to stretch this elastic. Ugh. I'm just going to stretch it a few different ways. But I'm going to pin this through so that it stays in the places that I'm stretching it. You know, so it stays evenly distributed. Oh, I can't even pin through this, you guys. Oi. Here we go. Sorry I keep hitting the microphone. It's right here. I kind of like that sometimes I'll let so many of those notes pile up, Michelle, that when I finally go, okay, I need to deal with this pile of notes, I'll go through it and I'll be like, I don't know what a third of these things mean. We did this, so I can get rid of that. I still need to look at that. I can get rid of the pile. Okay, this pin's not going to be strong enough. I have to use quilting pins for this. So I don't have a knife. Oh gosh, I'm bending this pin. Oh, you guys. I don't have a knife engaged on my machine, so putting a few pins in isn't going to be a big deal. It's not as scary. Yeah, I have a pile of Post-its for sure. Width, not the length. Ready to wear, meaning if you were to buy this off the shelf, like if you were to buy this at the store, that's what ready to wear means. If you bought this at the store, the elastic would fill this, you know? All over the machine in the wall in front of you. Have you seen my place? All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh boy. I'm going to cut my threads here. This is when you're doing cover stitch and you need to start in the middle, your threads need to be loose. Oh, I just lost that one. Your threads need to be loose so that you can get it under the machine. They can't be already sewing. Oh, I hope this works. I'm not sure. It's feeling really thick. Okay. YOLO. Let's do it. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Ray. Those are good questions. Really good. There you go, Michelle. You know what I do, Michelle? I do reminders. And I put an alarm on it. Now I have an email to myself. This is my latest genius. I have an email to myself, and anytime I can like reply to it and like highlight something if I've already done it or delete it, and then I can add to it and I just send it back to myself again and I delete the old one. That's my current thing. That's actually working really good. All right, I'm procrastinating, fully procrastinating here. No, I'm not sewing over the pin. You think I'm crazy? No, I always sew over pins usually, but not today. So when you're doing something like this, oh gosh, stop. Don't yell at me, please. Okay. So when you're doing something like this, so you can see there's some slack in here, right? You're going to stretch this first, okay? Keep it stretched while you're sewing. Okay. Let me see, is it sewing? It's not, is it? It's not. See, I knew when I pulled that thread through, I lost one thread. Oh, it is sewing. Oh my God. I just hadn't sewn very far, so I couldn't see it. All right, I want these two tails to be longer though this time. All right, here we go. Dang, everything was going good. All right, I'm just going to start there. It's pretty hard to see. They really don't make the presser foot easy to see, do they? Okay, here we go. Okay, here we do it. Let's do it again. So stretch it and then sew. When you stop and adjust, stop completely. And my needle is not down, by the way, while I do this. I'd be more cavalier with my industrial with the needle down and pulling. It's going. Let's see. I wish I had a free arm. There's like not enough room. The threads are loose of the cover stitch. If you mean that you sewed a little bit and they're loose, that's fine. Do it on fabric. My hand is bumping my thread cradle and it's preventing me from stretching. It's kind of annoying. I have to have my hand behind it to stretch it and stabilize it. I'm gonna get a tuck in the ribbing right now. I can't go very far because my hand touches the thread cradle. I didn't account for that. All right, so now I'm getting to my beginning here. That went okay. I have no room to stretch. Maybe I go beyond it. There we go. I'm back at the beginning. I didn't quite get where I started, but it's good. Okay, so I got my stitch in there. Ooh, it's a little crooked. Little crooked. Oh boy. So I'm just going to pick this up and move to the other channel. Oh my gosh. Lindsay may never send me anything again. Or I said Lindsay, I meant Lexi. I don't know why I call her Lindsay. How weird. It's a little easier because I can see my edge and if I'm going straight. I think stopping needle down is actually a good idea. I don't want these to get twisted though, and I feel like they're going to. Not twisted, but some little gathers with my ribbing. The good news is if I don't like this, this is a chain stitch, and theoretically that is usually very easy to take out. All right, there's no back stitch. You just gotta sew for a little bit. I'm done. I don't know how I feel about that. It's a little wonky. They look homemade. I'll just say it. All right. I'm gonna move my machine over so you guys can see it a little better. Oh, so dark. Feels nice and stable though, and you know the elastic not filling it up is fine. So now you're going to thread your, I don't know if you can see this, but maybe you can get the right angle. But you can see I have a little bit of directional stretching there. So it means that when I stretch the top and I stretch the bottom, I didn't kind of do them at the same rate. Maybe what I would have done differently is do the top row first and then the next row. I think that would have helped that. Stop it, Ray. Stop flattering me. So yeah, I think for my first time, it's okay. And maybe I would see how hard it is to take out that other one and maybe just do it again. I tend to fuss over the things I sew for Harts a little more off camera. Like after I've done it, I'll be like, you know, like that Alcott dress. I didn't like, remember the serging got really messy and it kept not sewing that section. I ended up taking all that out and just resewing it, and it turned out fine. I have strategy the next time I did it, you know. So now if it makes you uncomfortable that you don't get to back stitch right here, you can go over that with your regular machine. But if you've sewn a few stitches of it, like if you've sewn through where you started, that's okay. Just do it for, you know, ½ inch or so. Same with cover stitch, same thing. You don't get to back stitch. Now if you're doing a twin needle on a home machine, you can. Be careful. See, because I have a little bump here. Right? So all in all, this went pretty good for my first time, but I feel like the top row looks a lot better. It's a lot more parallel. I felt more confident when I did it, and the folds of the stretching are more perpendicular to the edge. You see, can you see that? Whereas you see these are a little more diagonal. So I feel like I might look at, maybe I'll play with that sample I sewed and unpicking and seeing how easy it is to unpick that chain stitch. Because theoretically you pick the right thread and it just goes, you know. But it is a 2-thread chain stitch, so I don't know if that's really going to happen. So, all right. Last thing I just need to do is I'm just going to secure my tails. These things right here. Make them look a little nicer. That's it, and then we're done. So let's go to the machine. Oh, it went okay. I'll show you, Eliza. I'm gonna go with my other machine right now. I need to brighten this up though. There we go. Try not to bonk you guys with the microphone. This camera is right in front. What am I looking for? There we go. I'm gonna brighten it up for you. And maybe I'll zoom in a little. Move you here so I can see. I'm gonna brighten it way up. All right, so it went okay for my first try, but it definitely could look a little better. It's still not very bright. I really want to put a light on this. I'm gonna brighten it up more. I can't see the chat, just a second. I see you guys cackling over something. Right? Yeah. You guys are nice. Okay. So you see, Eliza, my top row looks a lot better here. I feel like this is chalk right here. I feel like the folds here are more perpendicular, which is what your aim is. And you can see here, this was my first row, and I probably stretched these at different rates, and I was more confident when I did this row here. I didn't have to adjust as often, which helps a lot, because you can tell in a couple places while I was sewing here and adjusting, it kind of did a little jog. So then that kind of made me reevaluate, like stopping needle down is fine. And I did a little bit of experiment when I watched it while I pulled, and it was fine. So I think my plan of action, they are for someone, they are sponsored, Michelle, but they're kind of a tangential sponsorship because it's definitely all Hart's fabric and for Lexi at Hart's, but it's something she was supposed to sew herself. So they won't be displayed in a store. These are actually going to someone, so it's kind of a bummer I'm experimenting, huh? It's true, Beverly, but I think like I kind of want to get it right now, you know? So I think what I would do probably is remove this one. If it's easy to remove this chain stitch, I'm going to kind of experiment and see. And then I would just sew this one again. Maybe my idea is if you do this, I would do the top one first. Maybe the top one was just easier because I had already sewn one, but maybe it's just easier in general. It was easier to stay parallel because I could see that edge. Whereas here, you're kind of floating out in the middle of the waistband. Oh, you lost the Hearts down tag here. Boop. Boop. Yeah, it's on the other one. Okay. But it does have good stretch. I thought I heard a pop earlier, but it ended up being the, when I went from this row to this row, I picked up and moved, and those threads were kind of caught on each other. That's all it was, so it was fine. So here's a jog right here. I'm very transparent, aren't I? So yeah, this row looks pretty good. I hope they fit her. I hope that she likes them. You know, the bottom is a little loosey-goosey. All right, so yeah, so what are my regrets on this pair of pants? Not changing the serger to black when I got to the ribbing. So let's see if I can kind of snug this up. I don't think I can get these loops any more snug, but I'm going to try. And sometimes if I cut it a little shorter, oh, look at that. You ever find, there we go. That's a little better, huh? I do not know what the secret is there, you guys. You just got to experiment before you ask. I just always pull one and see what happens. And now I'm just going to pull it into the seam allowance and I'm going to stitch across it. Who was it that was giving me all those really great tips on, remember when we were trying to do that trick where as you're serging and you go off, when you go off like the edge of something, which this pant has nothing like that, then you turn you go through the machine and then you turn it 90 degrees and go back on itself. That was scary, but it was kind of an interesting technique. All right, so let's do it on the cuffs. So I just pull these and then I just pull them to the inside here. Loose threads always make your stuff look less professional, right? It's why I'm so fastidious about trimming them all the time. And my little rule, and sometimes I say it, is you don't get to look at what you just sewed until you trim your threads. Like it's like your reward. The chain stitch is nice and snug. All right. Okay, there we go. That's nice and flush there. These are some big cuffs. They look really big in my hands and not very big in the on the screen. What was I about to say? Okay. All right. I think the draw cord does add something too. They do seem like they're kind of missing that. And then here's the cuffs and we're done. So I could have probably done this same stitch on my single needle machine too. My straight stitch machine. Why am I hung up on saying that? What was for the undies stream? I don't remember. I have to look around my microphone and the arm of the camera to see the chat right now because my computer's not in the same spot. Once all these little threads are off and the chalk is gone, These will look pretty cute. I am really tempted on if I can get rid of the stitch though and just redo that. I think it's the only thing for me kind of drawing it back, that's a drawback for the look. But other than that, they're pretty cute. So, boop. Hudson pants. Sorry, my camera is really dark, isn't it? Let's see. Oh, and you know what? I wanted to thank this person. I'm going to redo the alert. There we go. Oops, I did it twice. Yay! Thanks, Jane, wherever you are, for donating. That was really nice. I don't get a notification by email. Isn't that funny? Okay, cool. She didn't want that. Do you flip or do you turn the garment before sewing over the top? Oh, for that tip. Yeah, so it has to be like on a seam that it's the end of the seam, you know, like before this cuff was on here, this, like say the side seam, right? So when you came down the side seam, you would come off and then right at that end there, then you flip it over and sew back on itself. I got kind of the hang of it, but it still created a couple little loops and I couldn't tighten them up. That was just someone giving me a tip, Barbara, on in the chat. And so I was trying it out. It was a little nerve-wracking, but I think if you got the hang of it, it was kind of an interesting tip, you know? Because mine's a two-step thing where you have to like go back and then top stitch it, you know what I mean? I'm not going to add the draw cord, Eliza, because she didn't. She said, she goes, oh, I know, I realize this pant has that, but that's not what I was going to do for this pair. She said, you can add one if you want, but I don't have a black draw cord at all. Yeah, right, Sydney? Yeah, because I don't actually think they're that functional in some cases. Oh, was it the undie stream? No, I feel like it was before that. I don't think I used the Serger much on the undie stream. And I also don't feel like, I don't think I was very adventurous. I think I was a little nervous then. They look big and cozy. They do look very cozy. Maybe I'll try them on. I don't think they'll fit me though. All right, well, cool. I'm so glad we finally got, I can't believe Megan's not here. Maybe she is here. You can lurk and not chat, right? So I know she needed a tutorial on making these for her needle sharp box. They look really good in person. The color looks very washed out on the camera, but they look very nice and cozy. Yeah, I really wish I had black thread on that waist. Don't do as I do. All right, well, I don't have a plan for next week. I did get someone emailed to sponsor the stream for a project. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it, but that was really exciting. It felt so good to see that. And I'm really thankful for that. So I don't know how that came about. They seem to even know that it's like a project. So that was really cool, really exciting. It felt so good. I'm always like, okay, you know, I'm doing this to help the community. I really want to help people sew, and it is really nice. So, hi, could I sew a denim jacket for men, please? Well, I don't really have a denim jacket for men pattern. So you can look at my Audrey jean jacket for some tips if you want. It seems to be a really good one folks refer to for sewing a denim jacket. It's a very traditional denim jacket. And men's and women's sewing for something like that is the same. Might be a different size, but it doesn't matter. The sewing would be about the same. So you can check that out. That's the Audrey jean jacket. I think it's from a couple of years ago, but right? A couple of years ago? I don't remember, but it's by Seam Work magazine. So yeah, so that is really exciting that we're getting a sponsored stream. And if you guys ever want to tell a fabric store or pattern company that you really want to see a specific project, tell them to send it to us. They get to keep the project, send us the pattern, the fabric, and everything, and we sewed up and we sent it to them, and then you guys get to see a new project and they get videos for their pattern. So it's kind of a win-win. So, and then I don't have to use my money to purchase the project. So it helps out. I don't need 52 garments a year, right? So that'd be a lot. That adds up. 2 years of streaming, I'd have over 100 new things. It's kind of kooky. So yeah, you're welcome. Good luck sewing your denim jacket. It's that time of year, isn't it? It's good. All right, I'll see you guys. I'm not sure. Next week, I think what I'm going to be doing is getting ready for a sample sale that I'm going to be having. All the samples that I've been sewing for patterns and things like that. Cut pieces, probably. I have 2 patterns being tested right now, so I have a lot of samples for those as well. So I think I'm going to do a lot of photography next week. I will have probably 2 uploaded videos next week, at least one. I may space it out. Did you, Terry? That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good one. I don't even know where my Audrey is. Maybe I gave it to Cricket. Can't remember. Dang, my camera's really dark, isn't it? Sorry. So I will come up with a November schedule soon. November? What? That's weird. November. Wow. Wow. My power goes out tomorrow again too, so that's awesome. But it is supposed to be the worst windstorm of the seasons that we've had so far, so it is the highest amount of danger. So fingers crossed, you know. All right. Yeah, how's the Juki, Terry? How's it going? Are you liking it? Are you using it? I hope so. I hope so. All right, I will see you guys soon. Check out the new video I uploaded yesterday. Nice, Terry. That was, and I have a few other quick how-tos there. So Christmas gifts again. Yeah, you guys have some ideas? Please email me. That was fun. That was actually really fun. I like that too, doing like the quick things. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, right. Yeah, we will, Sydney. Thanks. Cool. All right. I'll see you guys when I see ya. Hopefully I have a new president by then. Bye.